No city in hockey lives and breathes its stars quite like Toronto. Tonight, the focus is laser-sharp, and it's squarely on Mitch Marner. With the Maple Leafs' season and legacy hanging in the balance, fans aren't just watching for a win, they're searching for signs of a future. But in the midst of do-or-die playoff tension, league insiders are whispering about a seismic shift. Could this be the final chapter of Marner's story in blue and white? Strap in as we dive into the drama, the facts, and the decisions that will shape both Marner's and the Maple Leafs' destinies. The Contract Stalemate. A star on the brink of free agency, it's the kind of hockey standoff that keeps general managers up at night. Mitch Marner, one of the game's top playmakers, is just weeks away from unrestricted free agency. And according to top insider Chris Johnston, there's absolutely no reason to believe that Marner will sign an extension with Toronto ahead of July 1st. This isn't empty speculation. Johnston reports that Marner's camp has refused negotiations for a new contract and wouldn't even discuss management's request to waive his no-move clause at the trade deadline. Simply put, all avenues toward a renewed marriage seem blocked. Johnston writes, "Everything is lining up for him to walk free." That statement hits like a slapshot for Leafs fans, and for an organization that has spent years building around Marner and his fellow core. The performance gap, when playoff dreams crumble. The tension surrounding Marner isn't just about contracts and future plans. It's about performance, or more accurately, the lack of it when it matters most. On the verge of another first-round playoff exit, Marner's production is far below what fans and analysts demand from a $14 million superstar. As the Florida Panthers threaten to send Toronto packing, Marner has become a symbol for the franchise's struggles. Year after year, the hope is that the Big Four will finally deliver. Year after year, the heartbreak and scrutiny intensify. For Marner, the haunting reality is that his last moments in a Leafs jersey could be defined by costly mistakes and missed opportunities rather than the electric creativity he once brought to the team. Fans, once fiercely loyal, now question his role in a vision that has repeatedly come up short when the lights shine brightest. The asset management quandary. Risking a walk for nothing, for the Maple Leafs front office, the nightmare scenario. Is losing Marner for nothing? A case of poor asset management that could haunt the franchise for years. If Toronto falls short again and Marner walks as a UFA, there's no recoupment, no star in return, just a massive hole in the lineup. There's added frustration. Marner's unwillingness to consider a trade at the deadline reportedly blocked. A deal that might have brought star winger Mikko Rantanen to Toronto. Now, many see Marner's no-move clause less as player empowerment, and more as a costly restriction that may have slammed the window shut on one last desperate shakeup. In a city where every move is dissected, the optics of losing a franchise, winger for free, especially one who so publicly declined to facilitate a beneficial trade, could erode trust with fans and challenge the new front office's reputation. The psychological toll when love turns to doubt. The emotional roller coaster for Marner has been relentless. Loved for his passion, creativity, and childhood ties to Toronto, Marner was long seen as the heart of the team, a local kid turned hero. But playoff collapse after playoff collapse has altered that bond. Frustration is boiling over. Marner and fellow star Austin Matthews were called invisible in the most critical moments. The fan base, once unwaveringly behind the team's homegrown duo, is teetering on the edge of exhaustion after season upon season of heartbreak. At 28, Marner's relationship with the city is at a crossroads. The affection hasn't entirely vanished, but skepticism reigns. In many ways, fans are as ready for a reset as the player himself. Is a breakup best for both sides? The case for change. It's easy to focus on the negatives, but a split could be mutually beneficial. Johnston underscores the growing sense around the league that Marner is prepared for a fresh start, one in which he'll almost certainly command his $14 million salary, but somewhere other than Toronto. And for the Leafs, the hard truth may be that breaking up the core is the only way to break through the ceiling. The main four formula hasn't produced deep playoff runs. With the cap space left by Marner's departure, or even better, a trade before July, they could finally reshape a roster that's grown too familiar, too stagnant, and ultimately short of true contender status. If the Leafs fall in Game 6, the floodgates may open. Toronto will have no choice but to listen to trade offers, or risk losing Marner for nothing. For Marner, the idea of playing elsewhere, free from the microscope, could spark a personal and professional renaissance. A defining summer for Toronto, and Marner awaits tonight's game may be a fork in the road for the Maple Leafs, and for a player whose storybook start has veered into uncertainty. If this is truly the end of the Mitch Marner era in Toronto, it marks the close of a tumultuous chapter and the start of something entirely new on both sides. But what do you think? Should the Leafs push for a blockbuster trade, or is there still hope for a last-minute extension? Is Marner the problem, or just one part of a flawed system? I want to hear your take, so jump into the comments and let's start the conversation. And if you enjoyed this exclusive deep dive into one of hockey's biggest off-ice dramas, don't forget to hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned as we keep bringing you the stories that shape the future of the game.